Keyboard Exchange International.
Hey Grant, we're here today to talk about a very special Hammond A-102 that we recently acquired. And because you're the senior technician here, I wanted you to get familiar with this organ before we actually set it up and demonstrate it and play it. Oh, by the way, I'm Jim Huss here at Keyboard Exchange International in Sanford, Florida with Mr. Grant, our senior technician here. And Grant and I were just discussing the fact that this organ is super special, in my opinion at least, and once he gets into it and studies it, I think he might agree. But this organ was heavily modified and accessorized during the restoration process that another company did, Keyboard Specialties here in Florida. We've known them for many decades. They always did outstanding work. They worked for a lot of well-known artists and did fine work, but they're no longer doing that work, and we're trying to pick up the slack and take care of things where they worked on the organ, and we've identified them as the restorer. So now we're going to go in, and Grant, you took a look inside. They did some really great work inside, didn't they?
Absolutely.
What were the first things you noticed that has been done that we don't have to redo?
Well, right away, you can see that they recapped the tone generator with orange drop capacitors, which are very high quality, as well as the line box. Everything wired inside is very neatly done and held down with proper cable clamps. There is a MIDI output from each manual that is separate for the two manuals. You can see over here these cheek blocks are outfitted with custom cheek blocks that have knobs on them to control different MIDI sends. It's really nice work.
Yes.
It's all custom though. This is not something that we have the ability to reproduce exactly.
Right.
And it would take quite a bit of back engineering to figure out exactly what they did. But I'm sure it all looks top quality.
Oh yeah,
I don't
very
think there's
professional.
any problem with
Very
it.
professional.
But
even those cheek blocks had to be custom made.
yeah.
So chances are, when we sell it, we're actually going to be rather selective about who we sell it to, because we can't really provide a warranty on something that we don't fully understand. We can warranty certainly everything about the organ.
Sure.
So what I'd like to do is sell it to someone who is either a technician themselves, fully capable of doing MIDI repair work should it ever be necessary, or that they are in an area where we know technicians that work on MIDI equipment. So, I mean, it's hard enough to find a technician that work on the Hammond organs if people don't know us and have bought from us, and we're responsible for the warranty. But in this case, since this is kind of like a one-of-a-kind situation, I think we should just try to sell this organ to someone who will appreciate it, who especially will appreciate the MIDI features that have been installed on it, but they also are capable of getting their own technician should they in the future have an issue. Because we can't go send you out there to work on this since you don't have that experience.
Yeah, we don't have schematics or diagrams of anything. We don't know what the circuit design was, or is, I should say.
We might actually get schematics from Dennis.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I think I'll reach out to him and
That would be good to have. We
compliment
can send
him.
those along.
Yeah, compliment him on the work that he did.
Yeah.
I think he did it. I'll ask him that too. But Dennis, one of my favorite rock and roll Hammond organ players, intense individual who plays and gets deep. You think you deep dive into Hammond organ technology, and I agree that you definitely do, but he was doing it when you were still a little shaver. Hi Dennis, if you ever have a chance to watch this video, kudos to you and the fine work you've done over the years. So so this is just a preview. of the instrument. We haven't even rolled it into the shop to really fully inspect it, but we have inspected it. And Bill and I turned it on one day. I tested all the keys to make sure all the tones were there, because this serial number would indicate, and this is a little confusing to me, the serial number would indicate that it would have had foam in it, and you looked in and said there are no rivets.
Correct.
Which kind of tells us another hint that, yeah, there was foam in there.
Yeah.
But with the degree of work that was done to this organ already, and you mentioned they recapped the tone generator?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they hadn't removed the foam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that was something they did, but if it was done maybe 20 years ago and everything was playing the way it should, they might not have been fully aware of that necessity. So we'll check all that out ourselves, and then report back when it's time to hook it up to a Leslie and play it. But I did test all the keys, and on one draw bar at a time with the percussion off, everything is playing perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's an indication to me that either there's no damage from foam, or they took it out and they dealt with it. And that'll be interesting to see how they went about it, how they resecured the wires and so forth, because not too many people do that kind of work, except for us and a few others. And then the other thing that I find interesting is you pointed out that the tone generator has been recapped with orange drop, or something that's orange.
They are professional quality capacitors for sure.
Yeah. And orange drop capacitors always give us a great result.
Yeah.
They got very expensive, but they didn't used to be. Back in the day, we used orange drop capacitors because they looked cool, and they were the same size as the originals, basically. But now they've gone up like 10 times, or 5 or 10 times. Really expensive, but always with great results. Now, fortunately, we've been able to test orange drop capacitors next to the capacitors that you have selected to be used moving forward, and they sound the same.
Yeah.
And in fact, they sound like GI capacitors.
Yeah, a little bit on the glassy side.
Yeah. So, I think we're in good shape, and we don't have to spend all that money on orange drops, but when we have some, we did order some.
Yeah.
If somebody wants and insists upon orange drop capacitors, we'll do it. Yeah, for sure.
Just to let folks know at home as well, yes, this thing has lots of additions and wonderful accessories, but it doesn't require that you have a MIDI system to play this organ. Just as you noted, you can turn it on and play it as is, and it works just fine.
Oh yeah,
it's not an organ that you would need to have all kinds of extra equipment to enjoy or something like that.
Good point.
But we have been talking about carefully selecting somebody who really wants to use this stuff to sell it to, because it would be a shame for all of that work to go to waste.
Exactly.
But it is a fine organ, of course.
We didn't mention the fact that this also has, and it's part of the fully loaded concept here, this also has string bass.
Yeah.
And the organs with string bass gives the bass pedals a sustain and a pluck, and there's 2 little knobs right near your hand there.
Yeah.
And that is one of our most popular options. And this organ already has reverb, so this has everything, plus it's one of the most deluxe furniture styles. It's got a factory finished back. It's an amazing instrument, really.
Yeah.
You just have to find the right person who will really appreciate it and understand that the organ will be perfect. We'll test everything, but we need to have some backup support from either the person that buys it or their technician, because we can't warranty this at this time. But we will try to get the schematics from Dennis.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll give him a call later on. And this is something special. Number 607 is our company reference number.
But number 1 in your hearts.
That's why we call you Smooth Talking Grant. All right. That's great. Okay. You want to talk about the French legs or no?
I do like French legs. Always willing to talk about them, especially the lower ankle areas.
We're getting a little carried away here, Grant. But let's come back at a later date when this is playing,
Yeah.
and make another video. But in the meantime, let's get this out on YouTube and Facebook as a preview. This is a preview of coming attractions. It's like a trailer in a new movie. You know, you want to give people a heads up on what's coming soon, you know?
Yeah.
But you don't have to wait for the video. If you see and recognize what this is, and you know we're not going to charge extra for all those added options, we're just going to price this like we would if those options weren't even there,
Right.
then you should give us a call, send us a deposit, and put your name on it. And then when we finally get it ready to put a Leslie and make a video, then you can decide if you want to follow through and have it delivered. Thanks very much for your time and attention. I'm here with Smooth Talking Grant, Smooth Move Bill on camera. I'm Jim Huss. We're here at Sanford, Florida, showroom of Keyboard Exchange International. God bless you. Thanks for watching our video, and thank you also for helping keep the Hammond Tone Wheel B3 organ alive. We couldn't do all this work that we do here without you. And it would also help greatly if you could subscribe, like, ask for notifications for when we have new videos. That would be a big help for us. So we thank you once again. I'm signing off for now, but we will be back.